And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a new expansion for Vikings Gone Wild, which is called It's a Kind of Magic. This is one of the two or bigger expansions they have, the other one being Guild Wars. You can use one or you can use the other. You can mix and match them. This is going to add more cards, specifically a new kind of card called Spells. Let's take a look. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is the magic cards. 60 magic cards, well there's 10 of each of these 6 different types, are added to the game. And what you'll do is you'll replace other cards with them. So what the rules suggest is that you replace your defense cards with them. And I guess you could have some spells and some defense cards. They actually have a specific setup here, Spark of Magic and Full of Magic and Expert setup, where you can see it tells you which spells. You have 5 of the spells that are in play. And, it tells you the different things that you will mix together and add in, especially if you're mixing with the other set itself. But you can also create your own set, just realizing that the more units you have, the more that this, it's going to cause downtime because there's more choices. And also, the board only has spots for so many cards. You'll be putting spots off the board. So here you have these 2 cards, the Magic Potion and the Gold Touch, where you are essentially discarding a card from your hand to get 2 gold or 2 oil. All right, fair enough. Magic Manipulation lets you draw 2 cards or destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. Have you ever wanted to basically, what's the word for it, color your deck? Well, this is the one that lets you do so. We'll come back to the Curse Trap here. This cancels a spell played by someone else or gives you +2 defense. And here you can destroy a card in your hand or discard pile and take 1 or 1. This Alchemy is going to be one that people are going to really like, especially those who like to color their deck. This here gives +2 defense or produces a curse token. Now, curse tokens are something that's added in this game. They're also added with this building, if you're going to use this building, the Sorceress's Tower, which gives you these curse tokens or bless tokens. When you get a curse token, you put it on a building, and that building is now -1 defense. It's going to stay there, so you can really, lower a building's defense. If you have a bless token, which the Sorcerer's Tower has here, that will get rid of all the curse tokens on that building. So there's kind of a reaction back and forth to that. There's also some other cards that come in the set that for the Odin's Path here. The Necromonicon, take a card from the discard pile. Sheep Storm, which I think is a hilarious sounding spell. 3 attack, or you can have that add a curse token. Zap Trap, which is just a way to get rid of a token that's attacking you. So that stuff is fun to add. There's also Destruction, draw a card, and destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. So people are going to like this who like to cull their decks. There's also some new units. The Shaman, who you might recognize, he's actually from Odin's Path earlier. 1 or draw 2 cards. The Sorceress, who's 3 attack, or she can cancel a spell. And then my favorite new unit, easily, the Dreki here. A 4 attack, and he puts an egg in your village. Now, your opponents can attack that egg, but if they don't, it hatches next turn, and you have a 1-time baby Dreki who's a 3 attack. That's just a lot of fun to be able to play this, have an egg, hopefully your opponents can attack it, then it hatches and it comes out and attacks your opponents. And the game also comes with some more of these points here, some more goals, buy or play a Dreki card, own a Sorcerer's Tower, buy or play a magic card. It comes with a new hero, Hel, who's +2 attack, +1 for each unit card in your discard pile. So she could be extremely powerful. And that's pretty much everything in this expansion. Okay, the spell cards are fun. They're going to change the game up slightly, especially if you take out those defensive cards, because now that there's no defensive cards in the game, it makes the attacking cards that much more powerful. However, the spell cards can do tricky things. Like I said, some people really like to cull decks in a deck building game. This allows you to do it. Get rid of the cards that you don't really want in your deck anymore. The curse tokens are also really interesting. Although the curse tokens plus no defensive buildings makes it much more, eligible for you to attack. I would recommend that you play with 2 spells and 2 defensive buildings. That's what I would do for a setup, just to have the spells in the game and the defensive buildings. The new units, of course, are great, and I don't mind the curse tokens and bless tokens. That's an interesting thing. So people are going to ask, which of these expansions do you like better? And that's a tough call for me. I'm honestly going to mix parts of both of them in there. If I could only get one, I might get this one because it has the 2 versus 2 thing to it. But I do like the Magic cards a lot. Now, realize one thing. This is something that happens in both expansions, but we're talking about this one specifically. This will add to the setup time to a game. Before, with Vikings Gone Wild, I could just go and it's set up. Now you're like, okay, which setup? Are we going to use one in a book? Are we going to pick our own? And if we use these, there's some gold cards that won't make any sense. And so maybe we need to take those gold cards out. There's little icons in the bottom, which makes it easy to figure out which things to pull out and take in. You just got to keep that in mind. That setup's going to be a little bit longer. You could say, well, forget that. I'm just setting up everything. But then you're going to have a huge mess in your hand. The whole table's going to be full of cards, and it's probably going to bog it down. I don't recommend that. But I do like the Magic cards. I like the new ways to manipulate things, get resources, cull cards from your deck. The cursing people and making their defense go down is a nice addition. And, of course, I really like the attack units. I like diversity. And now with both of these expansions, I have the diversity to be able to add and change cards. I've already thought Vikings Gone Wild was a really great deck building game. It's in my collection. But these expansions are going to keep it in there longer because they add that diversity that I'm looking for. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
There.